in other narrations and other descriptions of the Isra Miraj, that the angel Jibreel alayhi salam had actually come to the Prophet sallam with the angel Mika'il, and woken the Prophet Muhammad sallam up, and he had the Barak with him. And that it actually mentions again in other narrations and other uh, in other descriptions of the Isra Miraj, it mentions that actually when the Prophet Muhammad was going to get close to the Barak, is that the Barak actually started to, kind of, I don't want to say convulse, but started to bolt a little bit. Like, he started to jump and get excited. And the angel Jibril, alayhi salam, had to, calm the Barak down and, tell the Barak, who the Prophet Muhammad was, in a sense. But what some of the more spiritual scholars have pointed out about this occurrence is that because the Barak, as it's going to be mentioned in, as it's again mentioned in other narrations, is that the Barak is something that other prophets have also utilized, that other prophets have also written on the Barak. However, when the Barak finally had the opportunity to have the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ride upon him, that was the pinnacle of the life of the Barak. To have the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be placed upon him, the Barak couldn't hold back his excitement. This was essentially the moment that he had been waiting for. That now the Messenger of Allah, the Habib of Allah, the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was now going to be riding upon him. And that was causing him to have this excitement. He couldn't hold himself back. And this is something that we see, and this is something that we'll probably discuss a little bit in more detail in a forthcoming lesson, inshallah. Is that, for example, even the stump that the Prophet used to use when he would do his Jummah khutbah, when the Sahaba had built him an actual mimbar, and the Prophet ﷺ left the stump of the tree actually cried out in longing for the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. And so, even the lesser of creation, so to speak, understand who the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is. And so, if as one scholar had put it, and I don't and I don't want people to take this out of context, but it's really just to kind of give us a goal to kind of reach in terms of our relationship with the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. Is that one scholar has said that, a tree stump had cried out of longing for the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. Are our hearts harder than that of a tree stump? Meaning that, have we ever cried out of longing for the Messenger of Allah ﷺ? And that if we haven't, the question can become, why haven't we? Because the reality of our relationship with the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is supposed to be that we're supposed to love him more than anything else in existence. And so the whole aspect, and this is something I wanted to mention previously that I didn't, is that the whole aspect is of us going over the seerah is not just to tell stories, but rather it's supposed to be a means of us learning more about the Messenger of Allah so that inshallah we can increase in our love and our longing for the Messenger of Allah, that we want to be of those who are close to the Messenger of Allah. We want to be of the lovers of the Messenger of Allah. And so this is why we do this. And so just as the Barak was excited and couldn't control himself and meeting the Messenger of Allah finally, is that we want to have that same type of longing that inshallah I'm going to do whatever I can to place myself in position that I can meet the Messenger of Allah, because all of us, even though we aren't going to be able to meet him in this life in a state where he is alive, for example, that inshallah we all have the opportunity to be able to meet him once we leave this world. And in that abode, there is no separation. And so this is, what we're striving to obtain in going over the life of the Messenger of Allah.